Have you ever been there? You're standing in a circle of people at a party, a networking event, waiting for a meeting to start. Someone finishes telling a story, and then, crickets. That heavy, awkward silence descends upon the group. Everyone suddenly finds the floor fascinating. They sip their drinks a little too eagerly. They check their phones for non-existent notifications. You can feel the social energy drain from the room like air from a punctured balloon. It's a universally uncomfortable moment, a tiny social death we've all experienced and wish to avoid. Your mind races, trying to think of something, anything, clever or witty to say to save the moment, but it comes up completely blank. Then you spot that one person who seems immune to the awkwardness. They aren't the loudest person in the room. They aren't necessarily telling the most hilarious jokes. They aren't wearing the most expensive outfit. Yet a simple comment or thoughtful question breathes life back into the conversation. They make the person who just spoke feel seen and heard. Suddenly, the energy shifts. The awkward silence transforms into a comfortable, engaging buzz. Everyone relaxes and leans in. The conversation flows. It feels like magic, but it's not. This ability to rescue a conversation and make people feel at ease is the hallmark of true charisma. It's a skill, not an innate gift. We often mistake charisma for being the center of attention, for having the best stories, or for being flawlessly extroverted. The real secret is subtler and achievable for everyone. It doesn't require a personality transplant or a degree in comedy. Shift your focus from, what can I say to sound impressive? To, how can I make this person feel understood? This feeling is the core of what we're about to explore. It's the key to unlocking a magnetic presence that draws people to you, not because of what you say about yourself, but because of how you make them feel about themselves. So, what is this secret ingredient? This magical conversational spice that turns bland interactions into flavorful connections? It's a simple, powerful concept that I call validation. At its core, validation is the act of acknowledging and accepting another person's feelings, thoughts, experiences as true and legitimate for them. It's not about agreeing with them. You don't have to share their opinion or believe their story is 100% factually accurate. It's about communicating one simple, profound message. I hear you, I see your perspective, what you're feeling is okay. It's the ultimate way of saying you make sense. Let's break that down because it's a crucial distinction. Agreement says, you're right. Validation says, I understand why you feel that way. Imagine a friend is complaining about their boss being unfair. Agreement would be, yeah, your boss is a total jerk. But what if you don't know their boss? What if you secretly think your friend might be part of the problem? This is where validation comes in. Instead of agreeing, you can validate, wow, it sounds incredibly frustrating to feel like your hard work isn't being recognized. See the difference? You haven't taken a side. You've simply acknowledged the emotion, frustration, and shown that you understand it. This single trait is the bedrock of all charismatic interactions. Why? Because human beings are fundamentally wired with a deep, primal need to be seen and understood. We go through our days wondering if we're doing okay, if our feelings are normal, if anyone else gets what we're going through. When you offer someone validation, you are giving them a precious gift. You are satisfying that deep-seated need. You are telling them that they are not alone in their experience. Let's take this superpower into a real-world scenario, a college seminar, a high school classroom. Picture the typical discussion. The professor asks a question. A few eager hands shoot up. Then there's the rest of the class, the quiet majority. Maybe you're one of them. You have a thought, but you're not sure it's smart enough. You worry people will disagree or think your idea is silly, so you stay silent. The social risk feels too high. Now imagine a student, Maya, who understands validation. She doesn't just jump in with her own take. She builds on what others have said. A shy student, Ben, quietly offers a hesitant idea. The room is silent for a beat. Instead of ignoring him or immediately countering, Maya chimes in,
That's a really interesting way to look at it, Ben. I hadn't considered the angle of the character's early childhood trauma. That makes me think about how that same theme appears in Chapter 5.
In one sentence, Maya did three powerful things. She used Ben's name. She positively labeled his contribution as interesting. She showed how his idea sparked a new thought in her. Ben, who was probably sinking into his chair, now feels seen and intelligent. The ripple effect is enormous. Other quiet students see this as a safe space to share ideas. They witnessed an idea treated with respect, not judgment. They're more likely to contribute now. The social risk is lower. Maya, acting as a validator, made Ben feel good and elevated the discussion. She didn't need the most profound insight. She needed to be the best listener. The professor notices. Peers begin to see her as a thoughtful leader who brings people together. This changes everything. Now let's move into the workplace, where the stakes are even higher. Think about your average team meeting. People are often competing for airtime, trying to prove their value, or defending their territory. It can be a stressful and unproductive environment. An employee who masters validation can completely change this dynamic and, in doing so, fast-track their career. Imagine a tense brainstorming session for a project that's behind schedule. The pressure is on. Your colleague, Sarah, nervously presents an idea that is, frankly, not fully baked. It has a few obvious flaws. The typical response might be a critical one. That won't work because we don't have the budget. We tried something similar last year, and it failed. These statements, while possibly true, are conversation killers. They shut Sarah down and discourage anyone else from offering a risky idea. The validator takes a different approach. They might say, "I really like the creative energy behind that, Sarah. The idea of targeting a new demographic is something we haven't explored enough. What if we built on that? What if we took your core concept and tried to fit it into our current budget framework?" This response is game-changing. It validates the positive intent and the creative spark of Sarah's idea while gently redirecting it toward a more practical path. Sarah doesn't feel attacked. She feels heard and appreciated. She's now more likely to collaborate on refining the idea rather than becoming defensive. You have preserved the psychological safety of the room, making it more likely that the next idea shared will be the winner. Your boss and colleagues don't just see someone who is smart, they see someone who makes the entire team smarter. You become known as a collaborator and a problem solver, not a critic. This skill is pure career gold. People will want you on their projects. They will seek out your advice. When a leadership opportunity opens up, managers look for individuals who can motivate a team and foster collaboration. By consistently making your colleagues feel heard and valued, you build a reputation as someone who is not just competent, but indispensable. Parties can be intimidating. The music is loud. Small talk reigns supreme. The person with the lampshade on their head, the one holding court with a dramatic, hilarious story. But more often than not, the most magnetic person in the room is the one having quiet, meaningful, one-on-one conversations in a corner. This person is a master of validation. They understand the greatest gift in an overstimulated room is focused, undivided attention. Let's say you're at a friend's birthday party and you get stuck talking to someone new. The conversation stalls after the usual questions about work and weather.
I've been trying to get into running but can't stay motivated.
Oh, you should download this app. You just have to force yourself to do it for 21 days.
While well-intentioned, that jumps over the feeling and into problem solving. It can feel dismissive. The charismatic validator responds differently. They hear the emotion, the struggle, the frustration.
Oh, I get that. It's so hard to build a new habit when you're already tired from everything else. That initial hump is the absolute worst.
Boom! Instant connection. You feel a wave of relief. This person gets it. Nowhere is the power of validation more critical than on a first date. A first date is the ultimate social audit. Both people are nervous, trying to present the best version of themselves while trying to figure out if they actually like the person across the table. It's a recipe for awkwardness. The pressure to be charming, funny, impressive is immense. But what if you threw out that playbook and focused on just one thing, validating your date's experience? This simple shift can transform a nerve-wracking interview into a fun, authentic connection. Imagine your date is telling you about a stressful situation at their job. Maybe they're a graphic designer and a client rejected a design they spent weeks on.
Well, I'm sure you'll come up with something even better. Or trying to one-up with your own bad client story.
These responses, while not malicious, miss the mark. They skim over the emotion your date is trying to express. Disappointment, frustration, self-doubt.
Wow, that sounds absolutely crushing. To pour so much of yourself into a project for weeks and then have it rejected must feel so deflating.
Notice the words, crushing, deflating. You are naming the feeling you're hearing, showing that you are not just listening to the facts, but are also empathizing with the emotional impact. This simple act makes your date feel incredibly safe and understood. It communicates that you are someone who can handle their real feelings, not just their polished first-date persona. This is how you create chemistry. True chemistry isn't about witty banter or having all the same hobbies. It's about emotional resonance. It's the feeling that you're on the same wavelength with someone. By validating your date's feelings, you are creating that resonance. Okay, so you're sold on the power of validation. But how do you actually do it, especially if you're shy, awkward, or just not used to communicating this way? The good news is that it's a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned with practice. It starts with a mental shift. Change your goal in conversation from being impressive to being interested. Here are a few simple, practical steps you can start using today to become a validation virtuoso. You don't have to do them all at once. Just pick one and try it in your next conversation. First, master the art of the echo. This is the simplest form of validation. After someone shares something, especially something with emotional weight, simply repeat back the last few words they said in a questioning, empathetic tone. If your friend says, "And I was just so overwhelmed," you can simply respond, "So overwhelmed?" This tiny prompt does two things. It confirms you were listening, and it invites them to elaborate without you having to guess what to say next. It's a beautifully simple way to keep the conversation going and show you're engaged. Second, learn to label the emotion. This is a slightly more advanced technique we've seen in our examples. Listen for the feeling behind the words. Is it frustration, excitement, disappointment, fear? Then gently label it. Use phrases like, "That sounds incredibly frustrating," or "It seems like you're really excited about that," or "That must have been so disappointing." When you correctly name someone's feeling, it's like a key turning in a lock. It creates an instant sense of being profoundly understood. Don't worry about getting it wrong. Even a wrong guess shows you're trying to understand, and they will gently correct you, which still builds connection. Finally, ask feeling-focused questions. Instead of asking data-driven questions like, "What did you do next?" try asking questions that explore the emotional journey. How did that feel when it happened? What was the most challenging part of that for you? What are you most proud of in that situation? These questions invite deeper sharing and show that you care about their internal experience, not just the plot of their story. They move the conversation from the head to the heart, which is where true connection happens. Start small, be patient with yourself, and watch how your conversations begin to transform. We've journeyed through the awkward silences, the classrooms, the boardrooms, the nerve-wracking first dates. We have uncovered the single most powerful trait of charismatic people. And it's not what most of us thought. It's not about being the loudest or the funniest or the most brilliant person in the room. It's about making others feel seen, heard, understood.